CBC has zero credibility left. On March 22, 2026, two Air Canada pilots, Antoine Forrest and Mackenzie Gunther, were killed when their plane slammed into a fire truck on the runway at LaGuardia Airport. These pilots were not at fault. They were simply trying to land safely. In those final terrifying seconds, they took every possible action and likely saved dozens of passengers and crew. They should be remembered as heroes. Yet a CBC reporter's very first question was political. Seriously? Is anyone else in this country completely fed up with the CBC? Does anyone even watch it anymore? Stick around, because this is the perfect example of the insanity we're all living through right now. You know the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. That's exactly what the state-run CBC and their political masters keep doing. Repeating the same spin, the same lies, the same failed policies, and somehow expecting Canada to magically get better. But here's the truth they don't want you to hear. Things have only gotten worse for every single Canadian. What has seriously changed in the past year since they scraped together another minority mandate? Nothing. In fact, things have gotten worse. No promises have been kept. Mark Carney's World Banker magic has delivered exactly what for Canada? Nada. Zip. Zilch. Zero. Is anyone else tired of chasing the progress that the country has supposedly made since the last federal election? Because it's only gotten worse, not better. Wake up, Canada. It's time to smell the coffee, or the bullshit. Let's talk about the exploding cost of living that's destroying families coast to coast. StatsCan February 2026 numbers just dropped. Inflation sits at 1.8%, but food prices are still up 4.1% year-over-year and shelter costs remain brutal. Groceries, rent, and housing have been crushing Canadians for years. This didn't start with President Trump. These problems existed long before he came back onto the scene. The Liberals want you to believe everything is his fault. Total deflection. This mess was here long before him, and it's getting worse under their watch. The Liberals repeat their lies so often they start sounding like truth. That's brainwashing 101. They tell you they're leading the polls right now and enough sheep will fall for it. If you're the one sheep that sees the flock heading straight off a cliff, would you still follow? And the gaslighting is unbelievable. Prime example, the firearms buyback program. Targeting legal firearms owners does absolutely nothing to stop the illegal flow of guns into Canada. Duh. A firearm is just a tool. It's the human being behind it with bad intentions that makes society dangerous. Guns aren't sentient. They don't wake up one day and decide to commit crimes on their own. If we followed liberal logic, we'd ban every single thing humans ever manufactured because it could be used as a weapon. Why not spend all that money actually stopping the illegal flow of firearms instead? Oh, that's right, that would make too much sense. And don't even get me started on the completely corrupt foreign student visa program that's being totally exploited right now. The Auditor General's report released on March 23, 2026 revealed 153,000 international students were flagged for potential non-compliance, yet IRCC only investigated about 4,000 of them. We're talking massive fraud, diploma mills, organized crime, extortion rackets, and shootings linked to these networks in cities across Canada. Housing shortages and skyrocketing rents have been made dramatically worse because of it. The department in charge has done literally nothing to fix it. Their political masters seem way more obsessed with ramming their flawed firearms buyback program down Canadians' throats than actually governing the country or protecting our borders and housing supply. That's how backwards their priorities are. Is anyone else tired of the liberal lies? The immigration minister is totally incompetent. PM Carney is truly a fraud. The country is getting worse every single day. Yet they keep blaming Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives for everything. His big Davos speech was all BS. He's actually pandering now to communist countries and Iran. And it's not just opinion, the facts prove the systemic bias. In March 2026, former CBC host Travis Thunraj testified before the House of Commons. He was punished and forced out simply for challenging the broadcaster's liberal bias and token diversity. He exposed a toxic culture of intimidation and selective enforcement. Then came the bombshells. Two major independent studies in January and February 2026 ripped apart thousands of CBC stories on Israel-Hamas. Brith Canada found 55.5% of coverage was clearly pro-Palestinian, versus only 6.7% pro-Israel. Innohives AI analyzed 2,789 articles and documented deliberate narrative imbalance. Palestinian suffering humanized, Israeli suffering downplayed or erased. This isn't random. This is deliberate. This is systemic bias at its worst. And let's not forget what happened at the March 23, 2026 press conference. Junior Liberal backbencher Natalie Provost literally pushed the Minister of Public Safety aside. All because she was a victim of the horrific 1989 Polytechnique gun crime. She even referred to herself as not a tin can or a gopher while arguing for this flawed program. This is the level of instability we have representing Canadians in Ottawa right now. The nonsense has to stop. Common sense has completely fled the Liberal psyche, if it was ever there in the first place. To every Canadian watching who is tired of this, you are not alone. We deserve better than state media spin and endless gaslighting. We deserve a government that is actually accountable to the people. Hope is not lost, it lives in every Canadian who is waking up, speaking out, and demanding real change. Together we can get back on track and rebuild a stronger, fairer Canada for all. Knowledge is empowering. And being empowered is how Canadians move forward with confidence. If this helped you understand what's really going on, stay informed. Stay prepared. Like. Subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. The Start Here playlist is on the channel.